Alrighty, well I'm Billy with Billy's Bacon Burgers and Bikes, and we're going to talk about the Baja No Pinch Tool. First, I'd like to introduce Chris Coulter. Chris, hey, good to have you here. Thanks for having me in your garage today.
Thank you.
So I'm a new guy to this tool. I just called these guys up and I said, this thing looks amazing. I've been reading about it. I've been watching the videos. I need something simple that I can put on my bike in case I get in trouble and I need to change, or I need to add a new tube to my bike out in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I met in a biker group, and I told you about the thing. And what did you say?
Oh, I've had one for about 10 years now. The thing's been fantastic. I used it all the time I was out in the desert racing and whatnot. And it's a really good functional tool that does the job as they say.
Well, so to me, that was perfect. So we've got a new guy with one and a guy that's had one for 10 years. And if you'll pan down here, here's his model here from 10 years ago. And then there's the one I just ordered. I don't see any big changes, do you?
No, it looks exactly the same as it's been for years. And I will say that they stand behind their product really well. I had a gear that wore out. I was using it so much that they sent me a new gear and took care of everything that was needed. So they stand behind it. It does its job and it works great.
And that's exactly what you want to hear from a company. When you pick up the phone and you call them, they're there for you. And that's the way when I talked to them, they were just really kind. So there's already a great video on their website on how to build this tool. So what we want to get out of this today is we want you to see us using it, from a guy that's done it plenty of times before to a new guy trying to do it for his first time.
Because you need to have this piece. There can't be a lot of play between it, because if there is, that's where the gears will skip and become no longer engaged with each other.
Gotcha.
So once again, it's picking the right diameter shaft for the axle that you have.
All right.
And sliding it in, and then using this lever here to get the right drive on it. So as the tire goes on, you're going to then use this for the over center, get more of a drive on it for the distance. You're going to want it to go out about that far once it's actually ready. So that's kind of where you're going to want to set it. And then, it's just a matter of, once you get the tire kind of on the rim and it's got that gap, you just kind of use this to leverage the rubber out beyond the rim like that.
Okay.
And then walk it back, slide over, hit it again the next couple inches, and push it out that way.
Right. So far, the only difference I see in your 10-year-old one and my brand new one is the size of the box. So, all right, I think we've got a large rod to go in the axle all the way down to there's 4 different size axle inserts. And those will go into this main mechanism here. And then once you get it in there, you'll tighten this with all the wrenches are provided with a smaller one here. Then you'll put this straight gear in like that. And then again, this will push that through there. And then you have these 2 pieces. And if I'm right from my reading, this will go into it as such. Nope. So that's where I'm getting it wrong. Okay, I'll go in like that. And then you get the pushing mechanism.
Yep.
All right.
Yep, that's the way it works. These are different sizes for the different size axles, as you said. 3 of them actually thread in, and then this larger purple one is for bikes that have a very thick axle, and it's actually a sleeve that just slides over the blue size. Okay. Like that.
Well, there's your zip tie on that.
Well, I use that to control the depth.
Okay.
So it wouldn't sink all the way in. But that's basically it. And as you can see, the only difference is mine's a little beat up. But other than that, they work great. Easiest way is we'll just set this rim into the tire, getting the tire onto the rim, and let's see if we can just get that slapped on. As you can see, this rim is just I mean, it's missing spokes.
Yeah.
It's just an old beater. And so the whole thing we're just trying to do is just get this set on there. Okay, see?
Okay, all right.
There's that. And then we'll put the tube in.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
So now you want to kind of start with we'll just say like we mounted it up, got it, got the tire on the rim for the one side.
Okay.
And then tube is or the tube is in the rim.
Okay. So typically in a situation like this, you're out in the middle of the desert, the woods, whatever, but you've already got the tube put back in here.
Mm-hmm.
You've got one side of the tire already placed in the rim. So now we're at a stage where everybody here can see that we've got that set ready to go, and now it's time to do the hard part. And you mentioned earlier that some tires are harder than others.
Yeah, depending upon the tire that you're using, obviously a tire that's more for hard pack, asphalt or whatnot is going to have a super thick and hard sidewall versus maybe a sand tire or whatnot, or a larger size wheel. This is an 18 as opposed to like a 21. They're going to have softer sidewalls, more room to maneuver on the tire, and they're just generally a much softer tire. This one's a little old. It's an 18. It's a hard pack tire, so it's going to be a little bit of a effort to get this on there. But that's why this comes in handy so good, because it uses leverage to just get that over center on the rim. So as we showed earlier, this is the right size axle for this tool. We've assembled it the way it's intended to be used. And then what you're going to do is, the first thing is just try and get the rim kind of set and started in one spot. Meaning, you've pulled it over. You've got just a part of the rim to drop down into, or the tire to drop down into the rim. See how we kind of walked it in there just a little bit?
Yeah.
And we want to start that just so that when it's time to leverage it, the tire can fall into a center part of the wheel. Okay. And so start like that, and then it actually works out real well if you can get it, kind of line it up and put your knee just down on it like so.
Okay.
And then start walking it around, and you push. You try and get this lined up right there, and you see it just pushes it just over center. You move it a couple inches, you get it over center, drop it down, disconnect, go to the next, just walk it around, just putting a little bit of downward pressure on it. And as opposed to like the tire irons that you see next to it, this is not going between the wheel, the tube, and the rim. And that's why it's a no pinch, because it's not getting between there to cause any of the problems. That, you know, you put a big tire iron in there and it'll leverage right over.
Do you place it up here or here?
Place it right on the bead of the tire, you know, because that's where you're trying to leverage it over. If you put it below, it shoots underneath.
Mm-hmm.
So
that makes that yeah.
There we go. It's going on this one. See?
That makes, oh wow, okay, yeah.
And that's it.
So do you think a newer 18-inch tire would have been a lot easier?
Oh yeah. And one that had been sitting outside in the sun and using a little bit of soap.
That's another thing I said on the other videos. I said if you have time, set your tires out in the sun.
Yeah.
You ever heard that? Yeah.
Yeah, because it makes them softer, more compliant.
Well,
yeah.
Summarize things. I'm typically used to making bacon, burgers, and maybe riding some bikes. But you've been riding bikes pretty much your whole life, right?
I have been.
Yeah. So this tool, just give me a quick summary of what it changed for you when you first got it.
Well, it just made the process of changing the tire, I thought, much easier. Went much quicker. This being an old tire was a good example of what a real hard sidewall looks like. Yeah. But it just, if you tried to do this with the tire irons, you'd wind up getting the tube caught between the irons and the tire, pop the tube, and now you're back doing this whole thing all over again. Right. With this, you don't pinch them. It goes together. It holds air. It's ready to go right after you do it.
Awesome.
Big change from having to go and do a tube again.
Well, Chris, we can't thank you enough for letting us visit you in your garage and talking about bacon, burgers, and bikes. And the Baja No Pinch Tool is definitely a big hit. Bacon on, America.